Abby had a smile that lit up a room and convinced everyone she was doing great. We met her sophomore year of college. She'd been recruited out of high school to play soccer, and her coach recommended that she see me because he recognized that she wasn't performing as well as she wanted to, or he believed that she could. When Abby, not her real name, and I first met, she was understandably guarded. I knew that she had struggled in her performance, but I didn't know until later just how difficult her start to college had been. When she came in as a freshman, she believed, as did her parents, her coaches, everyone, that she was going to be a star. She told me in my office, nothing had gone to plan. I'm the sports psychologist for the Ole Miss Rebels. Now, I know what you're thinking. Coolest job ever. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's the coolest job ever. As a sports psychologist, a licensed psychologist with specialty training in sport performance, I work with great athletes, like Abby, every day. I've seen in my role that sports psychology isn't just about improving the performance of athletes. There are concepts that all of us can use every day to improve our performance at work, in the classroom, in our relationships, in all areas of our lives. So I'm here to share a few performance-enhancing lessons from sports psychology. Like lesson number 1, expectations are distractions. Abby came into college carrying the weight of everything that she expected of herself and believed that others had the same hope for her performance. Growing up, she heard the same thing that so many of us heard. You have so much potential. I had a mentor that used to say, potential is a terrible thing to happen to a kid. Abby didn't know who she was. She only knew who she was supposed to be. Now, I don't know anybody that hasn't had the experience of feeling intimidated. But Abby felt intimidated a lot. She didn't know how to be herself in this world of athletics. She worked, and she worked hard. And Abby was afraid all the time that she was never going to live up to the person that her potential had predicted that she was going to be. When she was working to overcome all that she had struggled with and become that person that her potential predicted that she would be, she lost who she was. See, when we focus on who that person, that image of the person that our potential predicted we would become, it is a distraction. And we can't focus on who we are or what we're doing in the moment. So lesson number 2 is that comparison kills confidence. Abby was the best player on her team all through high school. Now, this is pretty typical of collegiate athletes because less than 2% of high school athletes go on to play at Division I collegiate levels. So they were all the best. So when they get to college, all of a sudden, they're just like everybody else on their team. And it's a real identity shift. Abby looked around and she compared herself. Her teammates were taller, faster, more experienced, and seemed to have this whole college thing figured out. She lost her confidence because her confidence had been in knowing that she was the best. There's a quote, and I've seen it attributed to both Mahatma Gandhi and Kanye West, so I don't know who said it, but it's true. Confidence isn't walking into a room and knowing you're the best. Confidence is walking into a room and not having to compare yourself at all. And again, I don't know anybody that hasn't had the experience of feeling intimidated. For some, it fades quickly, and for others, it persists as imposter syndrome, that nagging fear that somebody's going to find out you're a fraud. You're not actually smart enough to be giving a TED Talk. You're not actually capable or competent. But there's always someone smarter, faster, more eloquent in speaking, for sure. But that doesn't take away from the unique gifts that each and every one of us bring to the table. We all have a role to play in making this world go around. When we focus on playing our game, on living our role to the best of our ability, when we can focus on that and not how much better we think someone else is playing, then we find that our performance improves. Doing our best, that's the best we can do. And usually, that's enough. Lesson number 3, embrace who you are fully. Gifts, talents, imperfections, and ordinariness. That is a word. I looked it up. Abby desperately wanted to be extraordinary. She believed if she didn't stand out, that she wasn't special. And if she wasn't special, she didn't inherently have anything of value to offer. She would strive for her achievements, and she would beat herself up with her mistakes. You see, letting go of striving to be incredible or perfect can bring about an exploration in who we actually are. We are more than our successes and achievements. We are also more than our failures and mistakes. We ace a test, we kill it on a speech, or we land a date with a longtime crush, or we flunk a test, we drop the ball on a work project, or we say something in the heat of an argument that hurts someone we care about. We all have a whole portfolio of life that we tend to ignore when we feel the impact of something that we've done. Also, sometimes our best isn't good enough to achieve what we want. Abby was faced with getting to know her true self honestly, without the facade of standout achievements or the running list of mistakes. And that's scary. We have to work to see who we are beyond the great and not so great things that we do. But I believe that that is mental toughness, knowing who you are in situations that challenge you. And when we can see who we really are, we can see that the ordinary is actually pretty extraordinary. Who we really are, that's what people close to us care about. It's more real, it's a lot better, and it's a whole lot more fun. Lesson number 4, life happens, don't ignore it. Now, I knew that Abby was battling more than a disappointing soccer season, and she needed to talk. But like many athletes, like many people, she believed that asking for help meant she was weak. I challenged her, if asking for help, being vulnerable, is harder than staying silent and trying to do it all on your own, then it takes strength to ask for help. Doing the hard thing, that's the opposite of weakness. That's courage. We're making strides in our culture, but there's still a stigma around addressing mental health. Now, as we got to know each other and trust was established over a couple of months, Abby opened up and shared with me that she had come to college excited, motivated, and ready. She made friends quickly and started going out. But in her second month of college, she was at a party and was sexually assaulted. 1 in 4 college women will have a similar experience, and it takes a heavy toll. She hid her head in her hands, and she said she hadn't told anyone. She felt embarrassed and ashamed, weak. She tried to put aside what had happened and focus on what she was doing and leave it off the field. But it doesn't work that way. You see, we Athletes have lives and it happens for them, just like it does every one of us, whether it's sexual assault, domestic violence, family issues, relationship conflicts, depression, anxiety, whatever. We all have a biography that isn't perfect. We often want to separate who we are in relationships, in work, and in the classroom, wherever, into nice little neat boxes. I sometimes hear, I'm a completely different person at work than I am at home, or I'm going to put aside what happened to me when I get to work, and I'm not going to let it affect me. And that works a little for a short while. But we have to take care of ourselves. We can't ignore parts of ourselves, our history, our physical, social, emotional, spiritual, whatever parts, and expect that we will be able to fully perform at our best. Those parts that need attention will show up in the form of being distracted or tired, emotional, reactive, defensive, or in just not being fully present. We can't be fully present when we're trying to keep parts of ourselves at bay. And the more we can be present with our whole self, the better our performance will be. Now, I know what you all want to hear. I worked with Abby, and she became our starting forward, setting all kind of school records for goals scored. She was named All-American and headed off for a contract with the Women's Professional Soccer League. But that's not what happened. Even better, Abby worked through the sexual assault that happened her freshman year, recognizing it didn't say anything about who she was as a person, but rather spoke to her courage as a survivor. She worked to really get to know herself as a person, not just an athlete, and she started to really like herself. She worked so hard to stop comparing herself to others. Now, she was a good player. She even started some games, but she was happy. She found a career path that she was excited about, and her relationships flourished as they tend to do when you like yourself and you feel free to fully be who you are. And that's the best ending that any of us can hope for, to perform at our best by being who we truly are. And that's the best lesson from sports psychology. Thank you.